So I've just stopped by my local co-op on the way back from my run. Time now to try out some tasty new recipes as a way to refuel. Hello there, I'm Jenni Falconer and welcome to another cook along with the Co-op, where today I think you'll be very excited by what we're going to cook, because we're going to cook crepes. But these have a little bit of a difference. They're not going to be adding lemon and sugar or chocolate spread. You're going to be doing something completely different, and that's what makes it quite novel. It's nice sometimes to try something original. Joining me is top chef from the Co-op, Stewart. Hello there, Stewart.
How are we doing there, Jenni?
The meal that we're going to be cooking today is a really nice alternative to what you might usually have for brunch, and it is crepes, but it's crepes with a difference.
Yeah, so today we're doing beetroot flavoured crepes, and we're going to be filling that with a mushroom masala filling. So it's going to have red onions, some garam masala, some different spices, so cumin and some chilli flakes as well, along with garlic in there. So it's going to be really nice and tasty mushrooms, and we've got some yoghurt as well to sort of fill in as like a nice moist part of the dish.
So when you say we're going to do beetroot crepes, actually is the beetroot in the flavouring?
Yeah, so the beetroots are going to be in the batter, so we're going to blend that down with some milk. We've got that here ready. We've got 90 grams of beetroot and 140 ml of milk, so we're just going to blitz this till it's really nice and smooth.
Okay, straight into a bowl.
So you've got your egg and your flour in there, and we're just going to whisk that together till it's really nice and smooth.
I reckon that you might want an apron. Don't wear white while you're making this, like our chef here.
So once we've got that batter nice and smooth, we can set that to the side, and that's just going to rest. And what that actually does, it allows the gluten in the flour time to settle and stops it from being as elastic, so you don't get a sort of tough pancake. And we're going to get our onions on frying for the masala filling.
How long do you leave the onions on for?
So the onions will take about 5 to 6 minutes total, and you just want to get them softened and slightly golden in a nice hot pan. You really want to hear that sizzle, because all the colour you get on them, that's all the flavour that you're going to be adding into the dish. Once your onions have started to soften, and I think yours will be ready to add now, mine will take a little longer, but you'll be ready to add your garlic and your spices in there. And then there'll be a teaspoon of cumin and a teaspoon of garam masala. Now garam masala is it's like a specific spice mix, so it has a blend of spices in already, and that just wants to go straight in there. Now I've got some chilli flakes mixed in with mine, and that'll add the heat to the dish. So I've put 1/4 teaspoon in, which isn't loads, but it's enough to add a nice mix of flavour. But if you like spicy food, you can add more of that in there.
Okay, I'm going to put that in the pan as well.
Yeah, all straight in.
I love chili. I mean, for me, spicy food is the way forward. Okay, God, the smell from this is amazing. Well, if you're cooking along, you'll be able to smell it yourself.
When you get to this point, you might find some of the spices are starting to stick to the bottom. It's getting a little golden, and that's absolutely fine. That's how you want it to be. But when you get to that point, you want to add in your mushrooms. And something else that we're going to do as well is just add a little drop of water into the mix.
Do you just have to wait for all these mushrooms to soften down now?
Yeah, so we're just going to, if you've got a lid there or some foil, you can pop that on top and that'll speed it along. But you can just wait and let them sweat down.
So how long would this dish take to make altogether if you're starting from scratch right through?
Starting from scratch and prepping everything is probably looking at about 40 minutes. It might take a little longer your first time, but if you wanted to, you could have this filling mix ready beforehand. You could have your batter ready beforehand as well and just heat it all up. So if you wanted to, it could be from fridge to ready in probably 5 or 10 minutes, which might be an easy way to do it for some people.
But sometimes when when you're running your park run, you start getting ideas of what you'd like to have for a brunch afterwards. And so you might not have even considered this as an option until you're actually running. And so once you finish the run, you can swing by the Co-op, buy the ingredients and come home and do this. And it'll be like a late brunch, early lunch or something. It'll be lovely.
So you'll see here that the mushrooms, they've got all that sort of colour on them, and that's all the spices sort of rendering out into the fat and the liquid in there. Once it's started to wilt down, you can actually add your spinach in, pop the lid back on and turn the heat off, and these should wilt down over time, sort of as we're preparing the pancakes.
Now I've got quite a lot of spinach here. Does that matter? Should we put, is that what we're wanting?
You don't need to put it all in. This is another one of those recipes where if you have more or less, that's absolutely fine. You could use some replacements, like if you couldn't get spinach, you could use something like watercress, which would be just as good.
So you've used tin foil there to cover it. Should I put the lid back on?
If you've got a lid, that's absolutely fine. Yeah, it's better than tin foil. Our next step here is we're going to get our frying pan on a nice high heat with a little butter in the pan. I'm just going to wait till that starts to foam. We're going to go in with this mix now. I'm going to put one ladle in, and you want to hear that sizzle. And we're just going to take the pan and rock it around and spread it out as thin as we can. Now these will be a little bit thicker than normal pancakes, just because it's got that beetroot in there. It gives the mix a sort of certain body, so it will be a little thicker.
How bright that is. Literally, I feel like I've worn this shirt to match.
It will be a little more delicate than a normal pancake because it's got that sort of higher water content because of the beetroot in there. So you just want to make sure you've waited till it is cooked on one side before you try and flip it. And you will see the sort of colour change as it goes more opaque and it darkens a little.
Well, it tastes very beetrooty.
You will get that beetroot flavour. It'll be a little more subtle with all the milk in there. So you'll just get like a certain earthy sort of sweetness to it. But it, so it does add a nice flavour.
Okay.
But I'm going to flip mine. Now you can go for a flip with a spatula, which is easier, or you can just try and toss it in the pan.
I feel like it's high risk if I try and flip it. This is where it always goes wrong. I'm really quite impressed with that. Look! I didn't ruin it. Okay.
We're just going to do the same to the other side. It'll only take 2 minutes, and then we're about ready to start bringing together our dish. So mine's actually ready now. I don't know if yours is the same there. I think my hobs are a little hotter than yours. So I'm just going to flip this out onto my plate.
I think it looks ready, but how do you know?
You'll see little spots on the other side, like spots of golden, sort of darker colour. So this is the easiest part now. It's just spooning it all together. So as it's getting ready to serve as well, you can add a pinch of salt and pepper, but you don't absolutely have to. It just brings out a little bit more flavour and you'll get a little bit more from the spices that you've put in there.
Is this a portion for one person?
No, this is more of well, I think the recipe we have is 600 grams of mushroom and 200 grams of spinach. So you could feed 4 with this one.
And if you made pancakes, multiple pancakes, how would you keep them warm? Would you just put tin foil over them?
Yeah, you could just put the oven on quite low, stack them up and pop them in. Or you could just rely on the filling, because the filling is the bulk of it. So the filling will be nice and hot, and that'll be the sort of warmth in there that you need.
Oh wow, look at yours.
So we've got some yogurt here as well, for a bit of extra protein. We've got some toasted almonds just for a bit of extra flavour there too. I'm just going to dollop this over the top. Now you could roll this up and then add the yogurt, but I'm going to add mine in all together. And I'm just going to fold mine over, just like that, and you'll see it sort of oozing out slightly. And you could add, if you wanted some more, you could add a little yogurt over the top and some more nuts.
I feel like I'm going to ruin it by folding it. Okay, oh no, stay. So did you put more? I put a little dollop, weigh it down. Like sellotape. And then, Oh wow, look at that. Ta-da!
Really nice and simple and easy. It's sort of plated up nice and neat. It looks almost like it's from a restaurant.
Look how great that looks. I hope yours looks impressive. In fact, yours might look even better than this. Just make sure you grab a photo before everyone sticks their fork in to try it. And make sure you share that photograph with us. You can share it with Parkrun and with the Co-op. We'd love to see your end result. Enjoy.